What's up, gentlemen? This is Dogging It Live show. Do us a favor, guys. Hit up the chat. Let us know that you can hear us okay. Mike and I just got back from Vegas, so we had to reset up everything. So it's possible we dogged it a little bit. So just let us know that you can hear us and see us okay. I think we're going to talk World Pool Championship, and I got to bounce out of here in a minute, but I'll leave it to the two mics to kind of guide you guys through. So what's up, Melina? What do you got?
I'm 100% still on Vegas hangover without a doubt, and I don't even drink alcohol. So hopefully, hopefully, hopefully I'll wake up by Friday or Saturday. But we got business to attend to because it is day one of the World Nine Ball Championships, and it is not chalk going down. There are upsets, there are drama, there is going to be a new champion being crowned the next few days. So it's great, man.
Well, the only thing I'm struck with here is how fat my face looked. I think I probably gained about 10 pounds in Las Vegas going to Smashburger with you, Mike. I don't know. Look at how fat I shaved, but look how fat this thing is.
Oh my God, you're like the most insecure about your weight that I've ever met in a male ever.
Oh, sorry. Panozzo, what's been going on, man?
Oh, I missed Vegas, but I was able to follow it, through you guys. You guys did a great job. Had a lot of great guests on there. The free stream was great because I could just kind of like pop in and watch anytime, which you gotta love that. And but I wasn't able to get out there. I did make a trip down to Tampa to see Jeanette, which I think is worth mentioning because she's doing great. And it was
I saw that, Mike.
yeah, it was really good to see her. Um, she's a warrior, man. She's a fighter, and a lot of things have gone really well for her recently, which is really great to see. So um, you know, she's doing well.
Well, we're glad to see you're staying busy, buddy, and you're always up to something. Every time I see you, you're with a world champion in Louisville, and then following that up with a Hall of Famer out in Florida. It's like you're
If you
just all
invite them
over
to
the place,
dinner, if
Mike.
you invite them to dinner, they're all willing to take
Hey,
a
man,
they're all willing to take a
listen,
photo with you.
you know the move, Mike. You know the move. You know the weight of their
Uh,
heart.
Yeah.
Mike, you look taller, actually. Maybe you're just sitting higher in the screen today. But yeah. Well,
Yeah,
guys, listen, I got to bounce out of here. So, Mike, before I do, why don't you kind of give people the rundown on what's been going on in the World Pool Championship so far today? I mean, it started bright and early for us this morning, so let people know what's
Yeah,
happening.
that time difference is a bit brutal, but I mean, when I wake up in the morning, I woke up at 7 a.m. Great to see that matches were already well underway. There was some really bright spots, man, that I thought really jumped out at me. The shocking news in the morning, though, was seeing Sky go down in the very first round to the Italian Daniel Corrier. Corrier, I don't know how to pronounce it. Um,
really.
but that for me was what was the biggest news in the morning. You saw Thorsten kind of go down, but we really haven't seen a whole lot of him lately, except for a little bit of a splash there in Vegas. But yeah, man, it's. And then you saw Alex go down as well, which I don't think anybody expected that. But it's nine ball, man, and it's one on the spot. You got a template, it's winter break. I mean, anything can go and happen, you know.
Yeah, I saw Skylar was behind quite a bit, and then got fought back to get to the hill, right? And I didn't see the end of that match, so I don't know how that final game went. Did you see that, Mike?
I did not, but to a credit to Matchroom though, because they do a really good job on posting on all the socials of giving like not just highlights and shots that are fantastic, but also like the news part of it too. That's where I saw that Daniel had actually finished the job because, like you, Panozzo, I saw that he was up early, man. But I think a lot of people love Sky and Nine Ball, and rightfully so. I think he's got one of the better breaks, and especially one on the spot. That's like for me, Mike. That's the American bread and butter is Nine Ball one on the spot. Like that's where I think the Americans are most favored in.
Right. No doubt.
So
No doubt. That's what they grew up with. That's what we played here for so many years. That's what they play most competitions. So, yeah, that is was surprising to see Sky lose. But this tournament, it's everybody you play is is a really good player. There's a lot of players that I don't recognize the names from Middle Eastern countries, Eastern European countries that all of a sudden are knocking out guys that you've seen play for a lot of years. So anything can happen in this event for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely more than capable, and finding that break is going to be paramount. I was talking with my buddy Nick, and he was battling with Kazakis again, which is kind of pretty sick in its own right because he draws Kazakis in the World 10 ball, follows that up with drawing Kazakis in the World 9 ball. Um, and he was talking to me about the challenges that he was having out there, but credit to him because although he didn't get the W, going 9-6 with Kazakis, there's no shame
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, he draws like Oscar draws in terms of
yeah, it
getting
is.
those matchups. Yeah. One of the things I wanted to point out, I saw Josh Filler with a 9-2 victory over Chris Melling. That's a pretty wide gap there. It looks like he must be hitting the balls really well. And he's now playing Oscar right now. Looks like they're in action. I'm checking out the brackets on digitalpool.com. Also, another one that we saw out in Vegas, Mike, who seems to be getting into form really nicely, is Darren Appleton. He had a little bit of a scare with Craig Osborne in the first match, got by Hill, and now he's on to the second round. He's in action right now on table 6.
Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what I love? It's like these tournaments you really gotta get a little lucky here, a little lucky there, and that can kind of springboard you into gaining some momentum, right, Mike?
yeah, there's no doubt. I think it's. I always go back to. I went to Marquette when Al McGuire was the head coach there, and they won the national championship. One of his things that he always said was during a championship run, you always have to have one game that takes you to the wire, that makes you nervous, that goes down to the last shot, that goes hill, whatever it is. That you kind of need one of those in there. That if you run over everybody 4 or 5 games in a row, and you
Right.
come up against something, you're not going to know how to handle the situation as well. So maybe that'll get Darren settled in a little bit more, having withstood that, and gotten over the nerves right out of the gate. Maybe that'll help him going forward because he has played really well lately, and he's he seems to be committed to taking another strong run at top level pool.
Yeah, I don't know when I want that run to kind of happen or when that scare to happen. Like I don't know if I want that in the beginning or if I wanted, towards the latter part of a tournament. I don't know about you, Mike, but I was watching the national championship game this on Monday. Kansas was stuck big, man. I was sick because I had Kansas, of course, and I remember one of the commentators saying that was the largest deficit that they had faced, and
Yeah,
it's pretty brutal that in the entire tournament. So it's like you play all those games, you're used to just running over people, and then all of a sudden you find yourself stuck in a 15-point deficit, and you got to find out, what your like the Europeans say that your bottle, right?
right.
You really got to figure out where you're at, but if most time whenever I've seen guys really have a run, it's really you kind of dodge that bullet on the tail end of it. We saw it with Wojcik whenever he went and faced Edgy. I know there was last year during the World 10 ball when Kachi faced, I think it was Dennis Grabe and Max Lechner. He had a couple little landmines that he had to go and step around. But definitely a great start for Darren. And I mean, who knows, man? It's 9 ball with one on the spot, so anything can go and happen. Going back to what Joey was saying and Melling and Josh, I don't know what Chris is doing lately. Like, I don't know how great he's a great pool player, no doubt, but I don't know how to go engage his where he's at in 9 ball. For me, I would have had him ranked, in that top whatever it was, Mike, top 32 or top 64. But it's definitely a big win for Josh in that first round, but a tough draw as well.
Yeah, well, Josh played. I watched some of that. Josh was playing just loose and fast and free, and just he wasn't going to lose to too many people today. Chris has been playing a lot of that speed 8 ball, those kind of tournaments, and he's a great player, but he hasn't to me put in the time to really earn that a high ranking and or um, the thought that he's just going to go out there and play at his normal level in a world championship 9 ball field. So can't say that I was overly surprised by it, to be honest with you.
Well, but he's kind of a savant though. Like he can really pick up any stick. I mean, he can go grab a stick off the tree and just start pocketing balls on any table on earth. Like
No doubt.
Chris is just that kind of guy. And the only reason why I said it was only in the sense of, I mean, I know we had 2 years off because of COVID, but I thought he should have had a place there. He's got big wins under his belt. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, I mean, he's gonna have to take the scenic route. And yeah, I mean, congrats to Josh, man. He's picking up right where he needs to, and really just a strong win, man. Like that's something that can go and just light a fire under you.
Yeah, and the scenic route at this event is not as daunting as in a true double elimination event, obviously. So, you can still, win your next two matches and move on, get to that single elimination. Then it's a crapshoot from there. So I don't think any of these guys are panicking like they would if it was 128 and they went on the loser side in the first round, because that's a road you don't want to travel.
Yeah, guys, we are talking World Pool Championship. Got a bunch of people in here already. I put the chat up. Do us a favor, let us know who you're most impressed with after some of these first round matches, or who you're picking to win the World Pool Championship. We want to interact with you guys and have some fun with you as well. One person I want to point out here, Kelly Fisher, she knocked off Justin Toy 9-1 in the first round, and now appears to be leading Mika Imanen 3-1 in the second round. What
A big
effect do
win,
you
boys.
well, I was going to
That
say,
yeah.
what effect do you think for Kelly, stepping up and playing these matchroom events, playing against the top players in the world? I mean, is she ready for a breakthrough in this type of stage? Do you think she could possibly get there, get in the quarterfinals, semifinals, run deep in this event?
I think,
I'll defer to you, Panozzo.
well, no, I think that can she, yeah, I mean, she's got a great game, obviously. And, she made final 16. I think that would be, pretty big accomplishment. Final 8 would be huge. I'm happy for her that these opportunities are coming up for her because, I hate to say it, but let's face it, with not many of the Asian women traveling to Simming Chens and people like that. She's such a heavy, heavy favorite in the women's events these days. I mean, there's your Jasmine and there's Allison and players like that. But to me, it's an upset if Kelly doesn't win virtually every women event that she plays in. So
Yeah.
I think that she relishes the challenge, and I think that it's something that will get her game better, and I think that's what she's looking for. And she's over 40 and still playing world championship level. So um, hats off to her. I'd love to see her, you know, make a run. I think a long run, a 9 ball with the break, a little bit difficult, uh, but if she gets to the table, she can play with anybody.
100% agreed. And I think she's one of the few women players who can, realistically speaking, I don't mean that disrespectfully to anyone, but there's a few Asian women that I would go and include on there as well. We saw Jasmine have a great run, I think, during the World Championships last year too.
Veronica
But
had a great run last year.
yeah, for sure. I mean, she can play 9 ball, and it's not you're not playing a cut break with the 9 on the spot, so that would make things much more difficult, I think. But playing that 1 on the spot, I mean, she can run balls, and yeah, I mean, when it comes to WPBA events, it's just with that field. I mean, it was tough though because there were a few Asian ladies in there, but yeah, I 100% agree with you, Mike. But if she were to go and get a W over Mika, and this isn't Mika of like 4 or 5 years ago, where maybe he was kind of just showing up. This is Mika
Oh,
who's
Mika's playing great.
who's Mika's playing great pool right now. So if she can go and get a W there, I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Well, then she gets a day off. She's in the final 64. I mean, just like that, boom.
Well,
You're.
Is
let's
that all it takes? Is you got to get 2 wins and that's it
I
on the winner
think
side?
I think 2 wins gets you out of the opening, gets you out of the first half.
So
I,
then
I
you
could
you
be
win
wrong.
you
I mean,
you
I'm
win
sure
two and then
we
you're
have enough
already
people
into
watching that are gonna tell me.
yeah.
But
We ought to know stuff like this before we go on, boys.
Yeah, we should. We
no,
should
Yeah.
because if
this
she were to beat Mika, according to the way the bracket's laid out, if she advances, that's great. If she doesn't advance and has to play that bracket on top, it's Shane Van Boning's playing right above her, and then right below her, Jason Shaw. Which, by the way, talking Jason Shaw, he won his first round match 9-2 over Vincent Halliday. Mike, you and I were out there in Vegas, and there was no player that looked better than Jason Shaw in that World 10 ball until the quarterfinals. I mean, he was just destroying people 9-2, 9-3, looked incredibly comfortable. And it was just one of those weird matches against Tevez where he really couldn't get going, but man, he looked great. In fact, we did a little last longer bet, Panozzo. You don't, me, Mike, and Travis did a last longer bet, and I had first pick, which they suckered me into because it was like, fantasy football. You get the first pick, then you get the
Yeah,
last pick, then So anyway,
right.
I took Jason. I just feel like he's playing confident. He's hitting the balls real well. He's looking great out there. I don't know what happened with the Tevez match, but other than that match, I mean, there was no player more impressive in Vegas, I thought.
Well,
I would assume
he
he
couldn't
won
find his
that
break
bet.
with Tevez. Yeah, I mean he couldn't find his break with Tevez, and then it kind of put him on tilt, and race to 9 alternate break. It's a bit tough when your opponent's making all the traditional balls, and everything's going high for you. So, but I agree with you, man. I mean he's a locomotive, and if he gets going, the whole pool world is going to be on watch there, because Jason is one of those guys that has the game to back up the name. It's not just flash with Jason.
And I think he's really driven, to, they're so we've talked a million times about the world championship title thing, right, Mike? Jason won.
Yeah.
Jason wants one, and when he's really motivated and he's really focused, like he was when he was determined to win the U.S. Open, in Norfolk, that type of thing, then he was unstoppable. I mean, there was just nobody who was gonna. So, it could, if he starts rolling here, look out.
I mean, that's the thing though with Jason. Like for me, it'd be easy to kind of just let go a little bit. He's had financial success in the last few months when it comes to all of his accomplishments. He has been doing pretty well for himself. So I'm surprised, but it's like, man, when Jason has that look in his eye,
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of like Sky. When Sky's got that step, and if you watch enough Sky playing pool, he's got this rhythm when he walks around the table. It's like it doesn't matter who's there.
Yeah, another player we saw out in Vegas, although this year he didn't play quite as well as he played the year before, is Naoki Yoshida. He's up 4-0 in the second round, and Miguel Hernandez in the chat says, "Yep, 2 wins, and you're into that final 64." So always well
yeah,
on his way to making that final 64.
yeah. It's interesting because I'm looking at the brackets, and it does have a third round where the winners of the previous two winners brackets are scheduled to play. So,
I just think that's the way the bracket looks, Mike. I don't think.
well, because then the next round says winner of match 161 and 162, which means they're going to the losers bracket there. So,
Yeah.
or redrawing. I'm not 100% sure, but it's part of this whole thing with formats and tournaments all being different from one to the next. So we should know this stuff, but it's hard to keep track.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think to their credit, they've been pretty consistent though when it comes to you got to get to an X spot, and then you're going into
Right.
single elimination stage, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can argue either side of it. Like, I wouldn't want to go and have one bullet left after day one. At least if you win that first one, you kind of have a bit of a cushion, like an Oscar, for example. Yeah, I mean, you won one, but then you got Josh facing you in the next round, but you can breathe a little bit because you know that even if you don't get there at that moment, you got one more bullet left.
Yeah. 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 Just different formats. I mean, I like some better than others, but I
yeah.
also
Looking. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
no, I also saw that clearly Dennis Ocolo's not there, right? Because he was supposed to play Pia Filler first round, and I didn't recognize the name of the person Pia played, but I don't know if they pulled him out of the subway at the last minute or whatever.
Well,
But
he's
Yeah,
still in the Philippines, and I don't
yeah.
know
Mulaney's
there
been
was
what
something about a
posting.
happened.
money match that he was playing in the Philippines, and so there was some discrepancy. I mean, his name was on the draw for the World Championship, so not 100% sure whether he ever even thought he was going or was planning on going, or whether that was just uh, you know drawing him in there because he had a ranking.
I'm not sure. I know I talked to a buddy of mine who's real close personal friends with Dennis, and he was like, Dennis was talking about next month, and that's when I first like had an idea that, okay, well, maybe he's not going to be there, but I don't know all the details as far as what happened. It's a shame though, because I wanted to see Dennis go and play again.
Yeah,
But that's a big name. That's a top, you know 5, 6 name.
Yeah.
Who else
So,
is missing of note?
mm, no, I mean you got
Well,
the Taiwanese players are back. I mean, obviously there's still no Chinese players, which I don't understand why. Like if Taiwan's traveling, why haven't we seen, the like Lilo wins and Woos of the world? It's a bit unfortunate
Is
because they'd be favorites, Mike.
it might
Yeah,
have
yeah,
something to do
they
with the
would be, they,
pandemic
yeah.
because I know
Yeah.
China's locked back down in a couple areas, so it could have something to
Oh,
do
are
with
they?
that. Yeah.
And what about Carlo is in Vegas, right?
A
Seattle.
lot of Filipinos
Yeah,
are in Vegas.
if
Yeah,
you want to
and I
know
think
who's
what is it? Are they just afraid to leave the U.S. and try to get back in?
I don't know the
I mean,
specifics.
I'm not
I
sure what
mean,
the answer is, but I mean, he's won the world championship. He finished second. He's he's got to like that event. So I'm thinking, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he just thought, listen, I'm not going to try to leave and come back because it's too dangerous.
I don't think that's it. I think it's just more of a what makes more sense. They're already in Vegas. They got $10,000 guaranteed added with the Calcutta. Why go and spend another 5 grand getting over there, and then you got to go and fade the best of the best? Like just from a financial standpoint. I mean, I know it doesn't look good on them, from Matchroom side of it, but um, I can't really argue with the guys. But it's Levan, Carlo, Roberto.
Right.
Um, there's a few of them, and then of course Federer, but that's for different reasons because Federer
Yeah,
would
right.
be over
And
there.
that's why it just
Yeah,
kind of struck me that there were that many Filipinos who didn't go to the World Championship. I'd be interested to know whether they put their heads together and said, "Okay, we're not going to do this."
yeah,
yeah.
the US Open events have been rescheduled now a couple times, and both times there's been a matchroom event scheduled on top of them, or it's I guess it's maybe a little he said she said in terms of who was scheduled first. but
We're
but
not going there.
yeah, we're not going there. But the point is that there's still nice events in Las Vegas, right? And
Right.
now that most of the top players are over in the UK, I mean, some of these guys might be looking for maybe an easier payday out there in Vegas. They're good events.
But if too many of them are over there for the easy payday, it's not an easy payday anymore.
It's true.
All of a
Well,
sudden you got Federer, Carlo, Lee Van. It's okay.
Yeah,
There's no guarantees on first place anymore.
for
yeah. Heading
sure.
back. Heading back to the brackets, John Moran knocked off the young American Adrian Prasad. What a cool story for him to get over there. What is he, Mike? Like 14 years of age?
He's
Younger
he's
guy.
young. He's young, but
Yeah,
he's Oscar's protege, man. The kid's playing good, and he and
yeah,
he looks pretty. He looks pretty like loose mentally. Like what I mean is he doesn't get overstressed or seem like he worries too much. So
yeah.
kudos to him, man, for sure. But let's
Great
take a look,
kid.
Joey, real quick at the afternoon. This is what's going on right now. This is going to be on the TV table for Tunsky and Billy, which Billy, survived his first match, winning Hill. Omar and Robbie Capito, and Robbie's playing fantastic pool. And of course, we all saw Omar make it to the finals last year. Mika and Kelly are going on YouTube right now. Shane and Van Lierop, which Shane's got to dodge his Europeans, man. They can all play. They can all play some 9 ball, and then Kopinyi and Wojcik, which should be a phenomenal matchup.
Yeah, I'm excited for some of these. Omar versus Robbie Capito. I watched Robbie for the first time out in Vegas, and he was playing Sherik Syed, and they had a pretty long match. In fact, they got warned on time several times, and so it'll be interesting if he's on a shot clock to see how he's going to play in that environment because the referee came up and said, "Hey, you guys are averaging like a minute and a half per shot," so that's that's not going to cut it.
All in hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the
Uh,
most exciting of players to go and watch, but both of them certainly capable. And I remember it was Robbie's match last year that was real striking for me because when I finally did get to see him on the TV table, he lost to uh, Joey's favorite guy, Jeremy Sauce. So, um,
Sauce? Jeremy
yeah,
Sauce.
don't start putting me on tilt, buddy.
We'll make
Um,
Mike spit out his coffee.
yeah, no kidding.
Jeremy Sauce once hit a Masse.
Oh, here we go. There we
Oh,
No,
go.
here
Mike
we
said
go.
triple tilt.
Yeah.
Hey, there's also a really good second round matchup in Mario He and Pius Labudas. So one of those players is going to have to go the scenic route here.
There's going to
I
be a
was looking
lot
at
of
that in the
great
bracket now.
matchups in a rush, right?
Yeah, it sure
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Guys, I gotta bounce. You guys hang out, have
I
fun,
think
and I will
I
talk
think
to you
we're gonna
later.
go. Yeah, I think we're gonna go and call it too, Panozzo, because I want to get back to watch some matches. I appreciate you coming in, Mike, on the
Yeah.
last minute.
Yeah.
But we're gonna go sweat some matches as well, and then we'll try to do maybe a little update this evening, man. After everything's said and done, and the dust settles, and we'll look into what's gonna happen on day 2.
Yeah. Ping me anytime. I lead a boring life, so.
All right, guys, we appreciate it, and we'll see you guys soon.